Hello everybody. I'm going to share I don't have a lot of advice in the world, but I'm going to share something that I think is helpful, and I think might be helpful to those who are starting out, especially in a relationship. You know, on the surface it's going to sound strange, but I bear with me if you can, because I think that the result will hopefully help you to avoid conflict in your relationships in the future. And here's the thing. Money is not, I'm talking about money. Money is not an enemy to us. It can be very useful, very freeing, very liberating in many, many ways. But, however, if you are a couple, money can have a dividing effect. It can, especially if you're not used to talking about money and dealing with money, and if you're kind of a person like me that kind of just lets money flow like water through your life, and it only deal with the problems when the rapids come. If you, as a couple, do not treat money, here's where it's going to sound strange, as an enemy, you can run into trouble. Now, I just said that money isn't a bad thing, but I'm asking you to treat it as an enemy, as a couple. Now, why would I say something like that? Well, here's the reason. In life as a couple, you'll do better off if you see yourself as aligned together in dealing with all issues related to money. So when problems occur, as they will, and that's easy to do. It's easy to work as a couple when things are good. When there's plenty of money. It's no problem to spend money together, find out ways to enjoy the money and have all the fun. That's when it's easy. The time it gets tough is when money becomes scarce, when money problems appear. What happens sometimes is that couples may wind up blaming one another, or letting their emotions cause them to overreact, or to react in such a way that appears to be criticizing one another, or basically fighting amongst within the relationship, rather than dealing with the issue that's at hand. So what I'm suggesting is that if you train yourself as a couple to view yourself as an allied team in the struggle to manage money and to control money and to overcome the problems that come your way, you will go a long ways towards preserving your relationship through the tough times that come, and they will come. I mean, maybe there are some couples out there who don't encounter these times, but my experience has been that everybody does. And the greatest threat to almost any relationship is when money problems arise and we fight, and that money that issue becomes a sword, becomes a wedge between the two of us that causes us to divide and fight among ourselves and squabble and suffer the ill effects that occur. My father used to tell me, he said, what was it? How did he phrase it? He said something about, I can't even remember his words, something to the effect that when fighting, the words that we say sometimes in our fights as couples are very deep, and sometimes we can't come back from them, and we need to avoid taking our anger and our frustration out against one another. And money is one of the primary things in modern society that will do that to couples. So I haven't done a good job. I had hoped to basically to be helpful here, particularly to young couples who are just starting out. But I don't think I've done a very good job. But let me just try to reiterate one more time before I push the stop button. If you're a young couple and you're just starting out, and you think you're going to be serious with one another, and you're going to end up being a married couple, look closely at how you are going to think about how you are going to deal with all the aspects of life together, particularly money. How, when problems occur, how are you going to be able to communicate with one another to address the problem as a team, and not letting your relationship become the fighting ground in which emotions are vented in frustration over the issues that money can cause. Work as a team, view money as don't view your spouse as your enemy. View the money as the common enemy, an enemy in terms of an enemy to the sanctity and the peace of your relationship, not an enemy in your life. That's where it gets really, really crowded. I don't mean that money is bad or that money is necessarily evil. I simply mean that if you're not careful, it will become the force that drives you apart. Don't let it do that. See yourself as the primary thing. Maybe what you need to do is take great care in opening conversations about money. If something's going on, if the credit card bill's getting out of hand, if budgeting is failing, if job loss has occurred and restructuring of the household finances need to occur, whatever the case may be, don't approach that lightly. Approach that as if you are going to talk about the how many children you want to have, or whatever the case may be. Maybe set aside some time to tell your partner, we've got to talk about budgeting. Don't just bring it up, in the morning as you're both getting ready to work and say, we need to spend less, because that person's going to, sound like you're accusing them of spending too much. And then and you're both she's trying to put on her makeup, you're trying to finish your coffee you're both trying to get off to work. And now you've got the brewings for a fight that's starting, another you have the time to do it. Instead, if you think that you need to talk about it, pick your words carefully and say, listen, honey, this evening, why don't we, after dinner, why don't we go on down, if you don't have kids, if it's easy like this, why don't we go on down to the coffee shop, take a yellow pad of paper with us, and together, let's talk about our finances. And, I think, and if you're ever going to broach the issues of spending, use yourself as the first example. None of us is truly immune from that. That way you avoid the issue of the other person feeling they're being attacked. Say something like, I know personally I've been out of hand on the spending, and I need some help in getting things under control so that we can both, keep our household in good order. And that's going to, wording it like that, even if you're not the majorly guilty party, wording it like that is going to avoid the feelings of resentment that can come, and and I will actually elicit the vastly more helpful feeling of sympathy from your partner, even if that person's the main one to blame. If you're couching it in such a way as, I need help in spending, they're going to want to help you out, and you say why you want help in spending. I want help in spending because I want to make sure that you and I are secure, and that we have savings set aside, and that we can enjoy our life together. Please help me. That person's going to want to help you. And guess what they're likely to do? Might offer a little introspection of their own, and willing to work with you. It works wonders. That's an example of viewing the problem as the enemy. That's a better way to say it, rather than saying that money is the enemy. Viewing the problem as the enemy of the relationship. And when you go to your partner, don't go to them with accusations or complaints. Go to them seeking alliance. Go to them. There goes the bullet train. Go to them like a friendly nation that you would seek after for help and advice when troubled times are there. Go to them with a petitioning their companionship and partnership in solving the problem. Don't go to them with careless complaints and careless, and worse yet, accusations. You'll get nothing but distance. And that, believe me, that you can't get that back. Every time, I wish I could remember what my dad used to tell me, something to the effect of every time you say, and my dad's coarse language. Every time you never, like he would say, my dad had no problem saying coarse words. He would say something like, every time you tell your partner, fuck you, because people do that sometimes. Every time, or something, he was using those words as illustrative of the push away accusation words, the nastiness. He says, every time you do that, every time you say a harsh word to your partner, it's really hard to get that back. Avoid that at all costs. Take those emotions out together against the problem towards methods of resolution. And money, and this could be applied to just about anything in life, but money is the biggie for couples. Money is the thing that drives people away. Money is the thing in the Western model of society. Money is the thing. The money issues that come up is the thing that takes that loving relationship, those feelings of amour that you felt early on when you met, and drains it away like a sponge being squeezed, because the reality of it sets in, and you have this memory of how things used to be when the freedom and the fun that you had together. And you can have that again as long as you stay allied as a team against the challenges of life. Don't let that happen. Choose your words carefully. Be like Warmastrat. I mean, you know, my friend Warmastrat Mully, he had an issue where he was a little bit concerned about some vocabulary, some words that he used in talking to our mutual friend Jaylan Kev. And I really admired Mully because he was all in email, and we had talked about it, and he sent an email, and he sent a video to Jaylan Kev to clear so that Kevin could see his face, hear his words directly, clearly communicate what he had to say, and avoid any misunderstanding, because Mully's intent was completely good, as is the case when we try to deal with money issues with our partner sometimes. But sometimes it just comes out wrong if we don't broach it correctly, and if we're not careful in our wording, and if we don't see that person as our partner. Now I've gone on long enough. It's time for me to turn the camera off. Treat your partner as your ally against and towards solving the problems that come up in life. I'll leave you with a bullet train. Bye bye.